Hey folks, it's John from A is for Alcoholic again. Today's conversation is with Charles S. Harrison Jr. I connected with him on Instagram over some of his fitness photos and videos. It's something that's been on my mind for the last couple of years in recovery, and something that he has taken to the next level. We talk about the false sense of self-confidence that alcohol can often give us, the way that can be detrimental and disastrous to us, and finding that self-confidence again in fitness, in health, in taking care of our bodies that we have spent, from my personal experience, so many years destroying and not taking care of. But it was awesome to sit down and talk with him. I hope you guys enjoyed this. This is my conversation with Charles S. Harrison Jr.
Well, Charles, thank you for doing this. I appreciate it. I love your posts. Some of my favorites are the ones where you catch people doing stuff in the gym that's a little strange. There was some woman, was she doing some selfie pose on the treadmill or something like that?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's pretty hilarious. But so I wanted to ask, and the way that I like to start this out, and the thing that I'm mostly curious about is people who, whether it's alcohol or drugs, but for me it was alcohol, is what is the earliest memory you have of alcohol in your life?
Okay. I was just thinking about this yesterday. My earliest memory is probably when I would probably say maybe 4 or 5, that age, when you barely remember anything. But I know when I was very little, go up to my dad or whoever, uncles, whoever was drinking, and ask for some of their beer, and I would get sips. And that's my earliest memory, is just getting sips of beer from adults. And I guess it seemed harmless, but deep down, I mean, that was probably that started me out.
Right. And I think you probably don't remember any sort of physical reaction to it, but definitely the validation of adults is something I think as children
Exactly.
we crave and then we get
Yeah.
when it revolves around alcohol. So yeah, that's pretty deep. I mean, to be 4 or 5 years old,
Yeah.
that's still like you were just a tiny person at that
Yeah.
point. Um, did you start drinking early?
um, I started drinking probably more regularly around 12, 13, like 7th or 8th grade.
Mm-hmm.
And that was mainly just, I have older sisters, so they were already in their late teens, early 20s, and I would just hang out with them and I would drink with them. Started out, I remember we used to go out on the military base in here in Columbia, and I would get maybe like one beer, and one beer would be good enough for me. But as it progressed, one beer turned into, I was drinking more than them.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, and that's something too with having older siblings and hanging out with older people. Did you
Yeah.
find that it was more to fit in? Or did you just enjoy it? Did you take to it immediately? It was like, wow, this is great.
I took to it immediately. It was because I'm a pretty shy and quiet person, and when I started drinking, it was like night and day. It was like Jekyll and Hyde. I would go from being the quiet person to being the livest person. I would I talk to girls. That's the time I would go get on the phone and go call somebody. So it was exciting. I was like a different person. I was able to go. I would drink, and then I was ready to go pick up the phone somewhere, go find the phone,
Mm-hmm.
and want to call the girl that I was scared to call. So it was awesome to me when I first started.
Yeah. I mean, especially for, people who are shy. to have that boost of confidence that sometimes I feel it's, confidence is a great thing. And confidence, when it is developed, and in my mind, if I feel like I have earned it through some effort, hard work, that's good. It's when it comes to us through booze or through drugs, unearned, and you're just like, wow, I'm awesome. And you haven't developed any of the other like skills that come along with it. And so you think you're awesome, and everyone else is like, what's up with this guy?
Hmm.
Um, and so that's in junior high school. So that's pretty early for
Yeah.
somebody to start drinking alcoholically. Did you did you get into any sort of trouble early on, or was it like, did it take a while before problems
Um, ear
arose?
Early on, no. I mean, I had embarrassing moments, uh, getting drunk, getting pissy drunk. But not any real trouble. I managed to stay out of trouble. It was just I would just get embarrass myself,
Right. Yeah.
or I found out the next day, okay, he was doing all this, or throwing up somewhere that shouldn't be,
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
not any real trouble that came later on.
Right. So, and do you, so you're going along junior high school into high school. Um, when does trouble start to happen? Or is there a point where there's any sort of real consequences for the drinking?
Hmm. Um, I didn't really get into any trouble or have any serious consequences until it was well after high school.
Okay.
Uh, don't know the exact year, but it was I was going out and I managed to skate through a lot of stuff. I probably should have got DUIs back when I was in school,
Yeah.
but I never got pulled over, never got any accidents during that time. But I did get in a bad car accident after high school, and I still skated through that. I didn't get charged with DUI, um, but it was kind of like it was a big warning because I was in a bad car accident and it was some serious injuries, not to me but the people I hit, and for some reason I didn't get the breathalyzer or get charged with anything, but I had been drinking and looking back,
Mhm.
I was probably drunk.
Yeah.
I know I had been drinking that day.
And but did that stop you, or did that cause you to slow down at all?
No, it just I tend to I would find excuses to why it happened. I was like, oh, I was sleepy because I was working nights during that time, and I said, oh, I worked all day. I went to school that day. I was in college going to technical school, and I just like, oh, I was just tired and I just fell asleep. That was my way of, not saying, okay, I probably wouldn't have fell asleep if I wasn't drinking, but I just
Right?
made an excuse. Made an excuse.
Yes.
Okay, get more rest before you go out next time.
Before you go out drinking and driving.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
wasn't the drinking. It was the rest part.
hmm Alcohol's funny like that, Ben. It will help you make a lot of excuses. Um,
Exactly.
yeah, I got pulled over by a cop one time, and I'd been drinking all night at work. I worked as bartender, and I had my system down. I do a shot of vodka about every 45 minutes to an hour, so that I was just, for me, I was, even keel.
Hmm.
And driving home, I was going a little too fast, little country roads, and pulled me over. And I was like, well, just one, two, three, get it together, be sober. And I talked to him, and he said, have you been drinking tonight? And I was like, well, I know I'm not supposed to lie to the cops, but I said, oh, well, I work in a restaurant and we were doing some wine tasting, is what I said. And he said, so yeah, I don't know, I think we had like half glass of wine or something. And he didn't breathalyze, or, I didn't test me or anything like that. There was none of that. And he just said, please be careful. There's wildlife out here. Don't want you to hit a deer or something like that. And he still gave me a ticket for speeding, but,
Yeah.
and I was blown away, and I just could not believe that I had been drinking all night long. And so, when we get those moments where
Yeah,
we're not given any consequences, it's almost as if it bolsters our false
true.
confidence about how much we can
Yeah,
drink.
it does.
Um, so after high school, you get into this car accident. Doesn't really change the way you're drinking. And so, I mean, that's what we're talking like into our early 20s. And
Early 20s. Yeah.
yeah. And things are going fine. Things are good for you. Life seems good with drinking and stuff like that.
Yes, it was. It was um like maybe a few years after that, in a relationship. Um, had a good job, worked postal service. And everything seemed to be going great. And one night I went out again. I mean, I was constantly going out, and this night I just happened to I think I ended up going off the road a little bit, leaving out of the bar, and it was a cop. He just happened to be parked outside, and he saw me, and he pulled me over. This time I had the DUI, and that's when it really like it should have hit me, but that's when I really faced real consequences with the DUI. But again, I went through the whole situation with the DUI, and I still didn't really face any consequences. I lost my license for a while, but um, for some reason the case, just because I guess in my stay I live in South Carolina, I guess they were backed up, and I asked for a jury trial. The jury trial came up, and then I switched back to asking to go before the judge. And before it went before the judge, they dismissed the case. So
Wow.
I it was no consequences again. I mean, I went through a little temporary thing with it, but again, I got my license back, and I still didn't evaluate. I made excuses again. I was just like, oh, I probably shouldn't have been drinking like that fast or that much right after work. It wasn't like me thinking, okay, I have a drinking problem. It was just the way I was drinking. It was just I
Mm-hmm.
put it off on something else. I didn't think, okay, everybody else can go out and have a good time without, getting back like that. But I just put it off again, and it wasn't any consequences like long term.
Right. Yeah, we're always trying to, well, maybe I shouldn't drink hard alcohol, maybe beer's okay,
Yeah,
or, if I only have 3 drinks instead of 6, or it wasn't
yeah.
it wasn't the alcohol itself, it was some other combination of it, maybe I
Always
should.
something else.
Mhm. Wow. So, I mean, that's really, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I guess you can look at it one way or the other, whether it's fortunate or unfortunate. I kind of look back at things I got away with, and
Yeah,
accidents and things, and like maybe I should have faced more consequences, but
sometimes maybe.
so so what was the moment that finally said, okay, I have to make a change with my behavior with alcohol, my relationship with alcohol?
Ooh, I've had so many of those moments, but the the final moment wasn't really anything big. It wasn't like I got into I've had other DUIs and went through it,
Really?
but it wasn't anything legally or it wasn't anything like that. It was just um I noticed that I was slipping back into a pattern because I had gotten to the point to where I had kind of tapered off my drinking. I wasn't drinking as much. I was still having my moments where I get drunk or whatever, but I noticed that I was drinking almost every night because I'd never been that type of person. I was more of a binge drinker.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't an everyday. I was a binge drinker, and I noticed that my binges would turn into pretty much every night after work. I noticed that I was drinking because I like to drink beer, and instead of me drinking two of the real big beers, I was drinking three, and then I got to where I was drinking like six of them every night, which is probably equivalent to a 12 pack. and it would be every night after work. It was just like a routine. And I noticed that, I don't know, my life was just stagnant. I wasn't doing anything. I would just go to work. I would come home, drink, wake up just in time to get ready to go to work, and that was just my life pretty much. And every now and then maybe something on the weekend, but and I just realized I was slipping. I was slipping pretty quickly, and I had already lost my job before, and I managed to get my job back. And I just felt like, okay, I'm going down the same track. I haven't
Right.
got caught up with it yet, but like something's going to happen, you know. And I just wanted more, and that's when I decided to go ahead and check myself into a detox.
So
To
you went to detox. You
yes,
went to, okay. And what was that? What did that entail? What was that like for you?
um, even though I was drinking as much as I was, I didn't think that I would go through an actual like detox of like physically.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think I would feel anything differently, but when I was there, my blood pressure it shot up. I was already having issues with high blood pressure, but my blood pressure shot up. I had real bad anxiety, and I was just like, wow, I didn't like I don't always drink every day. I go, but it was just something about being in that setting where I couldn't get anything to drink, and I went, after a couple of days, yeah, my body was dependent on it. It needed that drink. So
Yeah.
I was glad that I did go through that route instead of just trying to do it on my own, because I probably would have, especially if I was still going to work, I would have gave in and went back and got another drink after work to tie me over, and would have been in that same situation.
Yeah.
But yeah, and in there, like you mentioned AA, I started going to AA while I was in there, and I think that built a good foundation
Mm-hmm.
to get me to where I'm at now.
Yeah. I detox is it's interesting because I didn't go to detox. I didn't take any of those steps. And now when I look back on it, there was like it was about a straight month where I didn't do anything except sit in my room. I'd go to
Mm-hmm.
work, but I was terrified of anything outside because I
Uh-huh.
just didn't want to drink. And I feel like a detox and a rehab might have benefited me, for as
Yeah.
much as I was drinking. And so you just did the detox, and that was just for how long was that?
Um, it was just a detox. It was just a detox. So it was. I was in there for 7 days. I went from a Tuesday to Tuesday.
Okay.
It was just to get it was just a more safety type of thing to make sure the alcohol was out the system and I didn't have any kind of reaction or anything.
Okay.
And I
And
didn't realize
then
it was that dangerous.
yeah.
They explained to me as the alcohol is very dangerous coming off of it. I didn't
Yeah.
realize that.
Um and was AA something that was presented to you during that period, or did you find it elsewhere?
I've been around in and out of AA the years before when I stopped drinking on my own, but that is something that they do offer, and they have the meetings in the hospital. And I already knew I was going to get back into it because it helped before. I've had times where I went like a couple of months,
Oh,
but
okay.
never more than 3 months at a time. But
Okay.
I had those short little periods, and I was like, it did help, and
Okay.
so
Huh.
I was familiar with it.
Okay. So in those past periods of brief sobriety, 2 or 3 months, one of the things that I have found and that has been taught to me in AA was this idea that I guess the joke is AA will really ruin your drinking for you. And so once you get that in your head and you get the program in your head, and so I have never um relapsed, but this is from what I've heard from people who have gone back out that the drinking was just miserable after they had been in the program for a short period of time because they're constantly thinking about all the stuff, and so now it's even worse that I'm drinking and I have a little bit of this program in my head. Did you find that to be the case in those earlier times, or
um, I did kind of I did pretty much the opposite. I um I was the type of person that I convinced myself that I didn't need the AA, and it was just like, oh, I wasn't that bad.
mm,
I was able to look at other people or hear other stories, and I was like, oh, I never did that. I was like, my problem with drinking was just me going out and getting in car accidents or having DUIs. I was like, as long as I use Uber or something like that or a designated driver, I'll be all right. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't think about how drinking was affecting other aspects of my life. I was just thinking more of just the legal issues. I wasn't thinking about, hey, I'm not getting anything accomplished in life. And I was going through depression, having anxiety,
Mm-hmm.
and just other health issues, blood pressure. I
Yeah.
wasn't thinking about how it affected other parts of my life. I was only thinking about the legal issues. So I was
Right.
able to convince myself that I was an alcoholic. I just drink too much when I go out.
Right. Right. So,
Yeah.
and that's funny too. I never thought about the level of depression I was experiencing and or anxiety, both of those when I was drinking. It was just sort of part of everyday life.
Yeah.
Well, life sucks. I go to work. Everything sucks until I can get a
Exactly.
drink. And then I would drink and everything would be fine. And it might even be fun and it might feel good for a little while. And then wake up and my heart would be racing and I would feel
Hmm.
sick and I would be anxious about everything until, near the end where I was drinking beer in the morning before work. But yeah, it's just that level of depression is, we get so used to it, right,
Yeah.
as alcoholics. And I think one of the things, it took me 3 years into sobriety, into recovery, before I ever started thinking about um trying to get physically fit, to do any sort of
Hmm.
real exercise, or be concerned about my diet. And one of the things that I noticed about you is, you're, at least from your Instagram posts, you're in the gym, you work out a
Yeah.
lot. And that is something that I'm still working on. Me currently, I hurt my back in April with a
Hmm.
damn kettlebell. And
Oh
so
wow.
it's been kind of depressing for the last, and this is another injury that I incurred last August. And so it's been really hard to just be stuck.
Yeah.
And what do I do now is I go, well, I can't work out. My back really hurts. I still got to go to work. But if I eat, I can feel good, right? So eating
Yeah.
kind of takes the place of that. So, was fitness something that you were interested in? Was it something you were passionate about while you were drinking?
Um, I didn't have the same passion, but I always wanted to try to get in shape. But
Hmm.
the drinking just overpowered that urge to go to the gym and do anything. It was just like I could never build up a passion or love that I have for it now because the drinking would get in the way. You stay out
Yeah.
drinking at night, you're not gonna have the energy. You just can't do it. And so it was just like when I stopped drinking, I was just like, oh, I can get up early in the morning. I have energy. I have so much more time in my day because it seemed like my days were just short when I was drinking because I guess when I come home from work, I work evenings and I would get off at like 2:30 in the morning and I would stay up drinking until about 6 a.m. And
Yep.
so and I wouldn't be accomplishing anything. I'd just be, I don't know, on my phone, messing around on the phone, watching TV or whatever, drinking. But it's like that time would fly by so fast. And then the days when I could be doing stuff, I'm asleep then, recovering.
Right.
So yeah, but I always wanted to just work out, but I could never do it when I was drinking.
Hmm.
Like two didn't mix.
And how long have you been sober now?
I've been sober for over a year. It was a year in February 19th is my
Congratulations, man.
sobriety date. Thank you.
Congratulations. And how would you say that fitness has been a part of your recovery? Was it something that you found, like, this is the thing that's going to replace the alcohol, or how does it help you in your recovery to stay sober?
Um, well, it helped me because it one of the biggest ways is like I found the passion in it, and it's like it's exciting for me to make to get gains whatever in the gym, And I've been changing that into helping others to do the same thing. I'm currently taking class for personal training,
Mm-hmm.
so I could just help others with it. And in the AA, I learned that just helping others, and not you don't have to necessarily help others with their drinking, just helping others do other things, just doing community service. And it's kind of like been my version of community service is just helping others through fitness.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of like it's helping me and I'm helping others at the same time. It's just like not only I can't let myself down, but I got so many other people that are helping too.
I
So
hear you.
that's the biggest thing with fitness. It's been like my way of helping others because I don't know I'm not very good at like talking like in AA about
Mm-hmm.
I can tell my story and stuff, but like just being a sponsor or anything, I'm I don't know where to start. But if I can take somebody to the gym or whatever, or give them motivation through fitness and stuff, that's my way. So
You can
that's
sponsor
how it's
them
helped
that
me.
way. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think too, because I was at about I was at about 270 some pounds when when I first started thinking about fitness. And the biggest thing was the diet for me. So a friend of mine lost a bunch of weight counting calories, and he hadn't even started working out yet. He was just like, I'm only going to count calories, and he lost all this weight. And I was like, oh my God, okay, so I should probably see how much I'm eating. And I remember the first day I said, I'm just going to count the calories. I'm not going to change the way that I eat. And at the end of the day, and I shit you not, it was like 5,000 calories. And that was my reaction. I said, oh my God, John, you're going to kill yourself with food. You've got to figure something out. And I was too heavy to, really do much of anything other than walk. And I got on the exercise bike at the little gym by my house. And I just did that for like 6 months before I started running. And I would say that that's probably my main source of that's the thing that I love to do physically. And then someone's like, you really got to start lifting weights. And I was like, I don't want to do that, man. Like, that's not fun for me. That's not where I get the, wherever it is in fitness. I think the thing that,
Yeah.
and maybe you can talk about this, it's got to be something that you get excited about, right? For you to
Yeah.
continue to do it, for you to be consistent, you have to feel, um, like it has to make you happy, right? It can't be miserable.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and so I starting to lift weights, and it's been challenging because I don't know what I'm doing. So obviously I need to talk to somebody and get some help. But what is it that and is weightlifting your primary source of working out, or what do you like to do? Like, what is your routine these days?
Yes, I do focus more on the lifting part.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I was I never really liked doing cardio, but I don't know. I developed. I guess it's a habit. It just I don't know. I started feeling better after I would do some cardio, go running. And when I first got sober, it was I started going to the gym and I was doing very little cardio. But COVID hit and I couldn't go to the gym anymore. So my workouts were very little lifting because I didn't have a lot of weight, and it consisted more of cardio. And I
Mm-hmm.
bought a bike, and I really got into riding the bike. That's I have a mountain bike, and I can go out in the park. That's fun for me, and it's so relaxing. And I get cardio in, and I don't know.
Right.
I think I like that the most. I don't get to do it as often because it's more time consuming just getting the bike out and going riding around.
Mm-hmm.
But I like that the most, and it's easy to do. I can get my son to go with me sometimes.
Yeah.
So I really like riding bikes.
I need to get a new inner tube on my bike. I need to get it out. I have a friend who just moved to the area, and he's an avid cyclist, like
Okay.
has the spandex and everything. And
Oh wow, yeah.
this is a guy I used to drink with years ago, and we used to work in the same bar together up in Seattle. And so it's just like he's like, man, I'm gonna come out there. You got a bike? We gotta go riding. We gotta go riding. I'm like, I really like to
Yeah.
run. He's like, it's too hard on my knees. And
Yeah, that is.
so so I think too, in AA, we deal a lot, and I don't know if you ever dealt with like food issues with sugar and stuff like that, but I know in the beginning of sobriety, that's all I would do is eat sugar, and I think that was a big part of the all the weight gain, and I still deal with it sometimes today. Do you have any of those issues with food?
I do. Yeah, sugar is big, and I think that's probably why I did the when I first like started working out and started losing some of the weight. I would do like low carb diets. I would just refrain from any sweets or just bread in general. I would try to just cut my carbs to just like the necessary things. And I notice every now and then I have like a some cheat days or whatever, and it's almost like it's scary because I was like it's almost like when I take a drink, I'm eating too much. I go somewhere and buy like a pack of donuts and I eat the whole thing, and I'm like, oh no, I can't do this no more. I was like, okay, let me get back on my program tomorrow. Yeah,
Yeah.
so yeah, the sugar, I think it's just a craving for it, and I don't know, maybe it takes the same part of the brain, but yeah, I would overdo it with the sweets,
Hmm. Yeah, and it was just I would go to the meetings and everybody was bringing donuts and cookies and
cookies.
candy, and I just was like I get so it's just really demoralizing, right? When
Yeah.
well, I would know in my head that I'm addicted to alcohol and that I have these addictive tendencies, and then just eat and eat and eat. And so what is it like, what motivates you now to stay fit and stay in shape? What is it that gets you out to the gym every morning, or when you
Um,
go? Maybe not every morning, but
I think it's just like to me, it's more of a long term type of feeling. It's like days when I do like skip the gym and like say because I'm like sometimes I have to make myself rest because I know you have to take some rest, but it's just like some days when do, I don't go. It's like I didn't really get anything out of the rest. I was like, it was like okay, yeah, I got some rest, but that didn't really feel good. In the same way, like if I eat too much, I was like, it was good temporarily, but it just didn't do much for me. I mean, the working out, it's like I
yeah.
feel good the whole day. Like it carries me, and then I come home and I'm dead. When I come home from work, I'm dead tired, so I sleep so much better. So I just get more out of the going to work. I mean, going to work out and getting that exercise. It's like it just gives me energy for the whole day. It's
Hmm.
like on days when I don't go work out, I don't I don't feel the same. So even like on my off days, I'll do something simple. I'll go riding a bike or something,
Yeah.
and that makes me feel good.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I mean, running's my thing, and then the days when I don't, even though I know my legs are like, just give us a break. Just give us
Yeah.
a break, John. But those days I'm just like, I didn't, and then it'll bother me all day. And I'll be like, I didn't go running. I didn't go running. And there's a couple of spots where on some of my loops where there's been shortcuts that I used to take to come home. And now I finally gotten to the point where I go, you know what? We don't even look at that shortcut anymore. That doesn't exist. Because
Yeah.
I would take the shortcut and then it would bother me all day that I did. It's like, why didn't you? It was only a half a mile extra. Like, just go the extra half a
Yeah.
mile. Um, do you uh, what would you say to somebody like me? Like, I'm dealing with an injury and it's really difficult to do anything else. What is the best way for one to mentally or physically deal with an injury?
Ooh, the injury. That's tough because I've had like injuries like my knee. Sometimes my knee gets really, really bad where it's like I can't do much of nothing. I'll try to force myself to go maybe just do upper body and stuff. But
Hmm.
with back, I imagine it kind of cuts everything out.
Yeah.
And that's a tough one because you feel like okay, I'm losing everything that I've got, that I've gained so far. But for me, what I would do, I would just try to do whatever I can do as far as rehab, I mean, if it's a back injury, there's always exercises that you can do just to work on that. Try to get
Yeah.
that back to where, as far as
Yeah.
strengthening your core and everything.
Yeah.
That's what
I've
I would
got a
do. I would
bunch of,
find something that I could do.
yeah.
Yeah, because
It's, it's
I
just a little frustrating
it would be
sometimes.
scary for me. Yeah, it would be scary for me to not to be able to do anything. But yeah, I would do whatever I could as far as like rehabbing it.
Yeah. Um, yeah. And it's, I think the thing too is it's hard in sobriety, I think, as well as in fitness. And, for me, I still have a long way to go. I really fell off. I had, because of injuries and because of COVID and all of everything, there was so much happened. And, I'm still very fortunate over the last year to say that the worst thing that happened to me is I gained 20 pounds last year.
Yeah.
Then you know what I mean? Like that's pretty fortunate, all things considered. I hurt my back and
Oh
I
yeah.
gained 20 pounds. A lot of people have gone through a lot worse. So like
Oh yeah.
I'm very, very grateful. And how is like how did COVID how do you deal with that with not being able to go to the gym? I mean, you said the bicycle was good, but that's got to be tough for somebody who
Yeah, it was tough because I was just. I mean, COVID hit me like it was like a double-edged sword because I was very early in my sobriety, and I
right,
was just starting to work out, and it was like couldn't go to in-person AA meetings,
right.
and that's what I had just got comfortable with that, and I couldn't go to the gym. It was tough. I was just I mean I just like set myself on just picking up little fitness bands and stuff, anything that I could do to make my home gym,
Right.
which was nothing. I mean, I would go outside and I had my little bands. I think I had like one kettlebell, and I just made do with it. The YouTube showed me a lot of videos on workouts to do, and I just got creative with it.
Yeah.
And with the AA part, I discovered the Zoom meetings, and I don't know, it's like everything just fell in place. If I feel like if you look for something, if you want it bad enough, you'll find ways to get it done, and that's what I did. I just was all over the internet finding different ways to do stuff.
Mhm. Yeah, if you want it bad enough, you'll find a way to do it. And
Yeah,
I think that's a really important thing to remember is that like, okay, well, what do you really want? Because I'm constantly going, oh, if only this, if only this, if only this. And it's like, well, I can't wish it away. So I need to find a way to work
yeah,
around it. And that's not just,
true.
if I hurt my back, right? That's, um,
Yeah,
in sobriety
all over like.
too, right? I mean, I don't know if you still get cravings for alcohol at this point, or you think about it, or you're like, gosh, wouldn't it be nice if I could, have a beer? But, um,
Get those random thoughts.
uh-huh,
And I'll be like,
right?
where did that come from?
I thought we were over this.
Yeah, I was like, where did that come from?
But yeah, and it's just, and it's been almost 6 years, and I'm like,
Yeah,
oh yeah, and stuff that I would not normally even drink. I'm like, oh, this, whatever it was, I'd see some bottles of rosé wine in the grocery store, and I'm like, God, it's such a beautiful day. Wouldn't it be great to drink a glass of rosé? And then
yeah,
immediately my brain's like, it would be great. And then you would probably want to drink like 2 or 3 bottles, black out, and ruin everything you've worked for. Um,
true.
but I just I find it very inspiring. The level of commitment that you put into fitness and taking care of yourself and doing that in sobriety, because I feel like, and importantly so, I feel like we focus so much on just don't drink, get into a program, figure that out, dial that in, don't worry about food, don't worry about fitness. And there's a part of
Mm,
me that wants to say, I feel like fitness could be more incorporated early in sobriety than it often is in the rooms or
yeah.
elsewhere. What do you think about finding a fitness routine early in sobriety?
I think so. I think it is good because I think one of the big things with alcoholics is that we we have to fill that time that we were spending drinking. And I mean, why not something that's going to help you? I mean, and for me, it's just like I know the two don't mix, and so that helped me out really early on because okay, I want to go to the gym. I know I can't drink if I'm going to the gym. I mean, it's just yeah. I think with a lot of people they help out a lot.
Yeah.
And the place I did detox in, they were pretty good about pushing for the fitness then because I know we went and played basketball a couple of times while I was in there, and so
Mhm.
they did push for you to get some kind of physical activity. But yeah, I think it definitely help a lot of people because I mean it fills your time and it gives you like a routine. If you don't have any routines in your life other than work, it gives if you go before you go to work, then that's maybe an hour or two that you feel in your day that you're not drinking, or if after work, especially for people who like to drink after immediately after work, that's a different way of winding down. So
Hmm. What's a
it's so
good,
many ways that
yeah, what is a good after work, like what kind of workout do you do after work? Say like I work nights.
mhm.
So is there something I could do after work that wouldn't be, what would be a good way to wind down, do you think,
Ooh,
workout wise?
winding down. Um, See, for me, I had that issue when because I work nights also, and working out after work for me because when you work nights, okay, you're not like a regular 9 to 5 when they get off from work. They still got the evening where they
Hmm.
have dinner and stuff. But I don't know. I found it hard to wind down. I think probably just more of doing light cardio or something maybe would probably be better for winding down because when I go in there and do the weights and then I do like high intensity cardio or something like that, it's just like I'm wide awake when I get home.
Right.
But yeah, I think more just doing light cardio maybe would be better if you're
Okay.
going to go to sleep. But yeah, I try to do my harder workouts in the morning because
Right.
yeah, it will boost that adrenaline and have you up.
Right. Right. Yeah. And I try to do most of my stuff in the morning too, or in the afternoon. But yeah. And then so I guess somebody who's listening to this and they're maybe struggling with alcohol and thinking about fitness, and what would you suggest to somebody as far as getting started? Somebody who's like, I can't do anything, I don't feel motivated, what's the point? All those thoughts that we have about like getting healthy. What would be your suggestion to folks listening about that?
um, for most people, I would say just start simple. Just go for a walk in the park. I mean, if it turned that into a habit, I mean, be like, okay, I'm going for a walk at this time, and say set the days where you're gonna go, and just make it a habit to do it. And I know, like with me, very quickly, it's like that little just saying I'm gonna do it and forcing myself to do it. It turns into something that I don't know, just like a without even thinking about it. Okay, I'm getting up, going to the park. I mean, it's like a routine, but you notice that routine after a while comes to something that you really it's like a part of your day that you need.
Yeah.
And that's I mean, I would just say just start it. Don't like procrastinate. Don't say, okay, I'm gonna start on Monday. Because I'm terrible about like, okay, I got to start on Monday. And I had a friend ask me, why Monday? I said, I don't know. I don't know. I guess maybe it's part of my OCD or whatever. I just
Hmm.
have to start, getting the work week, whatever. But yeah, I think just start. Just do something simple, whether it's just walking in your neighborhood. Just it don't have to be like you got to get dressed up or whatever, or go to the gym. Or just start something simple, or jogging, or riding on a bike. If you have dogs, just go walk with your dog.
Yeah. And it momentum, right?
Yeah,
Start
just got to
simple
you
and
got to put you got to get it started, get it rolling.
hmm right. And I guess that's the case with anything. And it's so easy to say we'll do it on Monday when it's Thursday, right? Because you're like, well, I
Yeah,
just want this one more weekend to not do anything or to, sleep in. And And then, so you said too, just another quick question. This one's more personal, because I often I'll beat myself up about not working out or not doing something or feeling like, oh gosh. And then how do you feel about, what is your stance on, forgiving yourself, giving yourself a break, or do I need to go hard every single day? Like, is there a medium in there somewhere, or?
I that's one thing I have been working on, because I once I got started, and it just became like, okay, I gotta go work out. Trying to work out every day, and I have days when I can't. I got, I have to go pick up the kids from somewhere. Got so much stuff, and I've had times where I missed like 3 days in a row, and just it's just something where you're like, okay. I mean, I have to look at where I came from, what I was doing before. So I'm like, I'm still running laps around that guy I used to be. So it's not gonna hurt to miss. It's not gonna hurt to miss a week. I mean,
Yeah.
a week or two. I mean, it's not. I mean, as long as that I still have it in me to get going. I'm not just totally falling off.
Right.
So it's not a bad thing to get that rest. So your body definitely needs it.
Yeah. Rest and forgiveness, and not losing it entirely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And things are going good for you. Recovery's good. Your program's good. Is there something like, what's your favorite part of your program, or what's the most important part of your program?
The most important part of me is just having goals, just not being stagnant and just saying, okay, I'm not drinking and I'm just living. But no, it's about progressing. For me, it's like, okay, I'm living a fit life, whatever. I'm doing more with it. I want to. Like I said, I'm taking classes right now, personal training, and just having those goals to look forward to. It's working more on the mental side, because I think big part of my drinking was just not feeling good with myself. So I drowned it in the alcohol, and drinking a lot of times just gave me these like big dreams in my head. But when I got sober, I would never reach for them. I would never do anything. I feel so happy when I'm drinking, because I'm thinking about, I'm gonna do this. I could have this, whatever, but never really went for it. But now, that I'm not drinking, I have my realistic goals set, and I have a pathway to it, and just going after it is what, keeping me sober, I think, too.
Yeah.
Just having, a lot better life, and just being able to see even better for myself.
Goals are important for sure. I think that I'm gonna, now that restrictions are loosening up and COVID is hopefully slowly on its way out, I'm probably going to sign up for another race. And I think that was the big thing, was when I had that race in mind in like 7 months, I was like, no, you're not going to eat that. No, you better get out there and do that. This is, that sort of thing. So goals are hugely important, I think,
They are.
in fitness for sure. How can people get a hold of you or reach you or see what you're doing out there? What is the best way online for them to find you?
Well, my favorite and biggest platform is Instagram, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And it's Charles dot Harrison Jr.
All right. Cool. Yeah, that's where I found you, and like I said, I love the posts, and it's always inspiring to see somebody in recovery who is, doing some next level stuff and really putting in the work for themselves, and and then to work on service too, right? I mean, that's
Yeah.
awesome. So and I love the fact that you said this. You're like, well, service doesn't always have to be directly sponsorship or helping someone in alcoholism. There's so many ways to do it. So Charles, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
It was good to talk to you. And yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Cool.
Thanks again for listening. Our music, as always, is by Neglect. You can find more of his stuff at neglect.bandcamp.com.
And you can find us on all social media platforms that matter: Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And you can reach us at aisforalcoholic@gmail.com.
Talk to you later.
Yeah.